provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about field marketing in calendar weeks 30 and 31. Frennis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the top field marketing trends popping up across LinkedIn over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of chatter.
Definitely. Our mission here is really to cut through the noise, pull out the most important insights fast, and help you understand what's actually shifting in B2B marketing so, you can apply it.
It's an interesting time for field marketing, for sure. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how the conversation has matured.
How so?
Well, the big theme from all these LinkedIn voices seems to be this major shift. We're moving away from just tracking activity metrics to really focusing on measured business impact. It's not just about doing events anymore. It's about proving their actual value.
Okay, so less about inputs, more about outcomes. We're talking beyond just, how many people showed up or how many T-shirts you gave away.
Exactly. It sounds like things like AI-powered insights, designing events with outcomes in mind from the start, and really focusing on people-first execution. That's setting the tone for the next few quarters.
So what does that mean for a B2B marketer, on the ground? Why is this shift happening now?
Well, it's crucial because it ties directly into that need for tangible ROI. Everyone's feeling the pressure to show strategic value.
Right.
Marketers are realizing events can't just be these standalone things. They have to be strategic assets that genuinely move the needle on the bottom line. It's about turning those sometimes perceived expensive parties into really accountable revenue drivers.
That actually leads us perfectly into our first big theme, event strategy and tactics. Moving, like you said, way beyond just booths and badges. It's clear showing up isn't enough anymore. Events have to be way more strategic.
Absolutely. We're seeing this big evolution from just going for broad exposure to really precise attendee mapping and scheduling meetings specifically for qualified pipeline gains. Wesleyan Whitaker made a great point on this. She said the #1 trade show KPI. It should be meetings booked during the show, not just badge scans or swag handed out.
That makes total sense. Quality over quantity.
Exactly. It's about those quality conversations that lead straight to sales opportunities.
Yeah.
And Ashley Ducat sort of echoed that, saying, look, trade shows are tactics. They're not your whole strategy.
Right.
Which means you absolutely have to define your clear KPIs before you even think about signing that booth contract.
So once you have those goals, how do you make the event itself more, engaging, memorable, beyond just the basics?
Yeah, that's where the whole experience factor really comes in. Julia Bellino brought up something interesting. She said events rarely fail because the big idea was bad.
Yeah.
It's usually the little things, like those awful long queues to get in.
Oh, definitely been there.
Right. So her idea is turn that waiting time into part of the experience. Maybe a welcome team with tablets for faster check-in, maybe some live music, a welcome drink, even a fun photo spot.
Turning a pain point into a positive touch point. I like that.
It's about making every moment intentional. And Mohammed Isak shared something similar from Energia. They shifted from just presence to purpose.
Okay, what's that mean?
Well, instead of just showing products, they focused on brand storytelling through interactive demos, unified messaging. It sounds like a real mindset shift.
And did it work?
Seems like it. And building on that, Cassandra Sandoval had this great story, increased booth visitors by 300%.
Wow, 300%.
How, with a really bold theme, Star Wars, I think it was,
yeah,
and strategic giveaways like lightsabers. Her point was it wasn't about spending loads on placement. It was about being intentional and making a splash.
That's fantastic. So, okay, sticking with giveaways, how does this strategic thinking apply there? Are we finally moving past the random pens?
Hopefully. Nicolette H. did note that promo items can work. Apparently, 75% of people are more likely to buy after getting one.
75%? That's huge.
It is, but here's the key thing she stressed. They have to be strategic. They need to align with your goals, not just be, generic stuff you hand out.
Okay, so there's data to support them, but they need purpose.
Right. And then you've got the counterpoint from Calypso Manolia. She argued, quite compellingly, I thought, that meaningful interactions matter way more than flashy giveaways. People remember the conversation, the connection, right? Not just the keychain. The goal should be fostering that memorable engagement.
That feels right. It's about relationships at the end of the day. So how do marketers make sure they're actually reaching the right people and maybe tailoring experiences for different groups, not just casting a wide net?
Yeah, good question. It really starts with getting precise on targeting. Lance Newton emphasized matching your strategy to actual attendee behavior. Don't just guess who might show up.
Do your homework.
Exactly. And Scott Klein took it further, highlighting that field marketing is getting really focused on contact level targeting now. To fill the pipeline, you need to reach real buyers, people showing intent, not just target accounts broadly.
Laser focus instead of a scattergun.
Pretty much. And that focus extends to event formats too. Laura Gutekunst shared success with dual audience events, like a cycling event for both customers and creators.
Oh, interesting. How did that work?
Well, the shared interests shaped the agenda. It led to better engagement, apparently, especially in smaller groups. It shows the power of niche appeal, building community.
Yeah, that makes sense. Find the common ground.
And Emily Dilbeck kind of summed it up nicely. She said, events are fundamentally about creating moments for humans to engage authentically. Focus on what people feel, what they remember, not just broadcasting content at them.
Connection and experience over just info dumping.
Got it. So with all this strategy and customization, how do you keep the planning efficient, especially for big events? Any quick tips? Yeah, efficiency is key. Robin Hem shared some learnings from large events, things like distributing responsibilities smartly, and really planning the backstage stuff just as carefully as the front stage.
The behind the scenes matters just as much.
Absolutely. And then there's the perennial problem. No-shows. Alex Adkins had some clever ideas for that.
Oh, yeah. What were they?
Things like personal calendar invites sent directly from sales reps, creating a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out with unique experiences, and using branded text reminders.
FOMO. That's smart. And I saw Taylor Duffy had a fun comparison. Trade shows or like blind dates.
Yeah. Stressing you need to make a lasting impression and follow up personally. No generic, nice meeting you emails.
Definitely no ghosting in B2B.
Please no. And finally, on the efficiency front, Alexandros Papantoniou pointed out that a lot of event stands fail simply because the messaging is too vague. You know, all those AI-powered next-gen buzzwords. Instead of clear, relevant copy that actually speaks to a customer's pain point, clarity wins.
Clarity is king. Okay, moving from clarity to capability, let's dive into our next big theme, AI and data. This feels like the new cornerstone of event success, right? How's it actually changing things?
Oh, fundamentally. It's revolutionizing how we measure things and how we personalize. Rob Ehrenberg highlighted AI's power in analyzing huge data sets, identifying the right companies, the key job titles, and enabling that hyper-personalized messaging, stuff that used to take days or even weeks.
So it's not just making things faster, it's unlocking deeper insights. Insights that could change your whole approach.
Exactly. Kathy Traum mapped out AI's impact across the board. Smarter audience targeting, instant lead qualification using AI chat, even predictive analytics to help you choose which events to attend in the first place. Plus, personalized content recommendations. It touches everything.
Wow, okay. That sounds like a complete game changer for understanding engagement.
It really is.
Yeah.
Manpreet Wadhan emphasized how AI gives you real-time engagement data. You can link attendee behavior directly to outcomes, like lead quality or session ROI. We're moving way past just counting heads. And German Coppola put it pretty provocatively. He said, events shouldn't be expensive parties. They should be strategic assets. And you need that robust digital framework underneath to capture actionable data.
Turning moments into momentum, measurable momentum.
That's the idea. Hoy and Chung basically said AI isn't a nice to have anymore. It's essential.
Yeah.
All the way from planning through to analysis.
Yeah.
But, and this is important, human oversight is still crucial.
It's about augmenting the human, not replacing them.
Precisely. Empowering people to do more strategic work. But this does bring up a huge challenge, which is proving the ROI.
Yes.
Francisco Olagarcia shared a pretty stark statistic. Only about 8% of teams are actually using AI to connect their event efforts to real pipeline generation. 8%.
Wow, only 8. That's a massive gap. If the tools are there, why aren't more people using them to prove that impact beyond just attendance numbers?
Yeah, it's a huge wake-up call. I think it often comes down to a few things. Maybe lack of integration between systems, maybe a skills gap in data analysis, or sometimes just not knowing where to start with AI beyond, like, basic automation.
So inertia or complexity?
Could be both. Many are still kind of stuck tracking activities instead of truly connecting them to revenue. But the path forward is getting clearer. Roberto Lubac talked about leveraging AI with human creativity. Drive pipeline, but measure it with data.
Makes sense.
And Charlotte Gill raised a really interesting point about attention being the new currency in this AI age. With everything getting easier, grabbing attention is harder. So things like frictionless registration, scroll-stopping marketing, they become vital.
Capturing that scarce attention. Okay, that flows perfectly into our next theme, ROI and measurement. Shifting from just impressions to actual impact, you mentioned moving beyond lead counts to pipeline contribution. What does that really look like?
Yeah, it means the days of just counting badge scans are numbered, at least as the main success metric. Now it's about opportunity value, sales velocity, things that show up on executive scorecards.
Right, metrics the C-suite cares about.
Exactly. Sean G. urged people to rethink success beyond scans and traffic. He suggested things like conversational intelligence could help turn those initial chats into real pipeline.
So really validating the investment in a much more rigorous, business-focused way.
Precisely. Cost-to-revenue ratios are starting to guide budget decisions, justifying why you should keep investing in events. And Cham Lazar also warned against relying just on foot traffic. Track ROI based on lead quality, engagement, actual conversions.
Quality again.
Always. And those post-event retrospectives, they're not just wrap-ups anymore. They're critical for feeding iterative playbooks, constantly improving performance quarter over quarter. It's that critical thinking step. Not just what happened, but why did it matter, and how do we do better next time?
Continuous improvement driven by data. Love it. Okay, that brings us to a really important, maybe sometimes overlooked theme, well-being and sustainability. Making sure we achieve professionalism with, well, peace. Event success shouldn't mean burning out the team, right?
Absolutely. It's so critical and often gets missed in the rush. Jess H. really championed shifting away from that suffering equals success mindset.
Oh, I know that one.
Right. She argued you can run a smooth, successful event without everyone being exhausted and chaotic. It's about clear expectations, working smarter.
That's a message we probably all need to hear more often.
Totally. And Mandy Hennishin talked about backstage burnout, emphasizing that sustainability in events isn't just about, recycling banners. It's also about protecting your people, realistic schedules, real breaks.
Human sustainability. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. It's a holistic view. And that extends to the event itself, things like sustainable sourcing for materials, maybe more health-focused agendas for attendees. It elevates the experience and the brand perception.
Shows you care on multiple levels.
Exactly. Nico Linner's Synchronizier initiative sounded interesting too, promoting ways to be efficient and sustainable. Like designing an event setup so you can reuse parts of it for the next event, saving resources.
Smart. Thinking circularly almost. Okay, our final theme, partnerships. Co-creation and extending reach. It really feels like partnerships are becoming super central to field marketing now.
They absolutely are. These shared value alliances let you co-create experiences that can deepen loyalty and massively extend your reach. Emily Kramer laid out a really powerful playbook for this.
Oh yeah, what did it involve?
Things like co-hosting smaller, more intimate events with your ecosystem partners, maybe influencers too. Coordinating the invites and making sure the follow-up is really memorable. It makes you ask, are you really leveraging your network properly?
That's a great question for everyone listening, especially, like you said, as traditional channels get noisy.
Yeah, and Jonathan Kazarian reinforced that.
Yeah.
He said events are gaining importance because traditional channels are stalling. Relationships are key.
Makes sense.
So his advice, co-host with partners. Use LinkedIn DMs for personal invites. Make events memorable with deep conversations. He even suggested something quite radical. Sell for your partners over yourself.
Wow, sell for your partners. That's generous. But I can see how that builds incredible strong alliances long term.
Right. It's about building that trust and reciprocity. And Triana Fredersen-Jewell from Deal gave a great example with their culture-first global strategy. Relevance over just replicating the same thing everywhere.
So localization is key.
Definitely. She talked about co-creating with local teams like a specific candy activation they did in the Nordics. It builds that authentic trust and connection way better than a generic global approach. It's all about that localized, authentic engagement.
Really interesting stuff. So a lot shifting in field marketing.
For sure. Towards impact, data, experience, well-being, and partnerships.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, just a reminder that new deep dives drop every 2 weeks. And you can also check out our other editions covering account-based marketing, go-to-market, channel marketing, MarTech, social selling, and AI in B2B marketing. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into field marketing. We really hope you gain some valuable insights, maybe some fresh perspectives for your own strategies. Remember, it seems the real impact comes from asking those deeper questions, focusing on outcomes, and just constantly adapting. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of strategic B2B marketing.